What up, YouTube? Guys, we're back. We're back up here in the fishing room, guys. Kind of like going over our little midsummer or late summer patterns and whatnot. And I was sitting back today and I was thinking, you guys know it's August, hot. I mean, you got 90 degree, 100 degree weather. And the fish have just been hard to find for some of us. I mean, some of us are finding them deep offshore. Some are lucky to find them in the grass. So I'm just gonna kind of break down what I've been having success on and some of the other people I've been speaking with, guys. We're gonna first go into the reason why we do this. And what I mean by this, I mean why we fish, guys. A lot of us fish because what? It's a passion, it's something that we want to pursue a career in. And it's also some of our lifelong dreams. For myself, I can speak personally that this is a lifelong dream and this is something that I see myself doing the next 30, 40 plus years, guys, and probably trying to pursue any avenue or career in it, whether it be professionally doing it on the tournament circuit or whether it be involved with lures, rods, reels, and whatnot. But main thing is, the reason why I want to get into that, because I want you guys to hold on to one thing and one thing only. If you have a goal or a dream and it's outdoors, fishing, or whatever it is, maintain the course. Stay the course. When I say maintain, I mean don't let anything negative come in your mindset to stop you from doing what you need to do. Now, I'm not gonna preach to you guys a whole lot about that, but I just want you guys to understand, a lot of us that do YouTube, guys, we don't do YouTube for money, because a lot of us ain't making a dime off of it. We do it because of the pure enjoyment of teaching people how to do something new, or just to help people have a better experience outdoors. So with that said, guys, I definitely hope that this video can help you guys out. And for you guys that are lacking the energy and motivation, hopefully this can motivate you to keep going. If you got a channel or if you're doing your tournaments, let's try to get some motivation, man, and let's stay the course, guys, and let's get things done. But with that said, man, let's break off into these. We got these 5 baits. All right, guys, we got 5 baits that I go to in August. The reason why I go to these baits in August, because they seem to get bit more than anything. I mean, I've tested out everything. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've been catching them off spinner baits and all that other stuff, but let me tell you the main baits that will trigger you some bites in this really, really hot weather. We're gonna start off with one. We'll go top water, guys. Now this right here is a buzz bait for 10 Killer Tackle Co. Okay? The reason why we go with this buzz bait right here, this is a squealer right here, the metal one. The reason why we go with that buzz bait, for one, a lot of times in the summer, the water's hot, there's less rain, so you know what that means. The water starts to clear up. So something like this buzz bait can trigger a big fish midday, early morning, late evening in the biting. But it's one bait that you can pretty much get a reaction bite out of. It's just like a jerk bait in the winter. You can get a reaction bite out of a buzz bait almost any time during the day in August. And the reason for that is when it's getting hot, a lot of them bass are just sitting back, lethargic. They either hunting late at night, early morning, and then they start pushing back out deep. Well, with that buzz bait, you can throw it out in the deeper water if you're fishing from the shore, or you can hit little shallow areas by stumps and trigger them fish to come out of them stumps and eat. So a lot of times you'll see me throwing a buzz bait first thing to either get them going, get their attention, so I can throw soft plastic out, or just to get them out that cover, guys, and get that bite, get that strike. So with that said, guys, you want to pretty much, when I throw my buzz baits on, let's see, let's get my rod. I've been throwing it on medium heavy rod, but I'm throwing it on a 7 foot Denali. Now this is a Riker, okay, guys? This is the Denali Riker, and the reason why I throw it on that with the Corrado K, and my reel speed is always going to be 7.4 plus when I'm throwing top waters. And the reason why I'm throwing it on that is because I want to be able to have that bend. You can see, I want that bend, that parabolic bend, and I also want that fish to be able to get that buzz bait. When he sucks it down, I want him to get that buzz bait in the roof of his mouth so I can hook him. Because I don't use trailer hooks. I know a lot of guys do. A lot of guys swear by them and say you don't lose much fish with them, but that's not my deal. I love using just a straight buzz bait like this. And the reason why I say that, it has a natural swimming motion. That trailer hook to me sinks that buzzbait a little bit. So if I got a 8-to-1 gear ratio or 8-5 gear ratio reel, then I'll throw, you know, a trailer hook on that because I can pick up the slack on that buzzbait. And next, what I want to get into, guys, okay, they're starting to get to where they're not as hungry during the day. Okay, now I'm a flipper. I got my 7-foot Denali Attacks, and this is a heavy, extra heavy. And what I do with that is, guys, I'm gonna peg that with a tungsten weight. And as you can see, I got a 5-aught flipping hook. Usually with a smaller bait like this, I'll go to a 3-aught or a 4-aught, but I'm gonna take this 5-aught and I'm gonna run that right through the top, and I'm gonna skimp it through. Now this is a bigger hook for this bait, and I'm gonna push that through to that point. What I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna push that weight. Make sure I get my line through there. I'm gonna push that peg right down on top of that. All right, guys, as you can see, I'm gonna push that peg on top of that. And the reason why I'm doing that, because I'm usually gonna throw this in some deep grass. And when this thing, the reason why I hook them like this, because when they drop, it kind of rocks down and the legs are kicked all the way down. So when that fish, usually when I throw this, it's instant. As soon as it hits past that grass line, it breaks through that grass. Usually the line tightens up and there's a fish on it. But if it's not, 2 pumps on this, there's enough action in the legs to where you're probably gonna get picked up on the first cast. And the reason why we're throwing it smaller, guys, like I said, the water's starting to clear up, and that water is gonna magnify the size of this bait, okay? So where we're seeing a 2.5, 3-inch bait, that fish is gonna be looking at it as the size of this tube right here, which is gonna be the next bait we get into, guys. When it magnifies it to this size, it'll entice bigger fish, and it'll start bringing out a lot more fish, because as you guys know that throw swim baits and bigger baits, you guys know that even if the bass don't eat it, it'll get them curious to where you can kind of either anger them. You can either anger them to end up biting it, or you can annoy them just enough. Like I said, you can annoy them enough to where they'll go ahead and grab onto it. But when I grab a bait like this, a big bait like that, which the 5-aught hook is perfect for this, a lot of you guys that fish tubes, you guys are probably going nuts right now because y'all use jig heads. I don't have to use a jig head though, guys. Here's a secret that I've been doing for a long time, guys. A Texas rig, any one of them, weighted Texas rig, any one of my tube baits. It don't have to be this specific tube with the crawl pinchers on the end. It can be a regular tube. And as you can see, it's not a bad looking bait, even Texas rig. So when you drop that in there, it's usually heavier, so it'll break through the grass a lot easier. And usually if there's a bigger bass in there, they're gonna grab this because this is way more enticing. Okay, guys, so this is another thing I like to throw, especially in the summer when they're in that deep grass. If you're fishing for, especially Florida strain, guys, here in Oklahoma, we have few lakes that have Florida strain in them. And what I've noticed is they stick to that grass real tough. So I punch a lot with 20-pound tests. As you can see, I got 20-pound test fluoro. I run straight fluoro, guys, and I'll peg that weight. I run that through that grass, and them big bass will come out. I mean, they're almost 9 times out of 10, it's a quality fish that I'm pulling out of there from 2+. Every time I flip one of these big crawl tubes, or any tube I flip down in there, guys. But you definitely want to flip this tube, especially, we'll talk about the color a little bit, guys. That clear water, I don't want too much bright stuff. You don't want too many bright colors. As you can see, all the colors I throw are pretty subtle. Only where I got a little silver in here because shad, they can mistake it for a shad or whatnot, or a minnow. But the reason why I don't throw too many bright colors, guys, because I don't want to spook the fish. You get what I'm saying? I don't want to spook it. Now, we're going to move on to our next bait. Once again, smaller bait. You guys have seen me throw this on many videos. And once again, you can peg this also. And I'm going to tell you guys why I'm pegging everything, why I'm flipping everything. Because like I said before, guys, the fish are either offshore or they're deep in the grass in August. A lot of you guys are throwing out in the middle of the lake and wishing for a bite. It's not going to get it done. I mean, you might get a few, but if you want to consistently catch fish, you got to go where they're at. And what we're going to do is, especially when we're flipping that grass, we're going to get our grub situated. As you can see, Get our grub situated. Same way, guys. Same way. Now, what you can do with this grub, even though it's pegged, you can swim this grub as well. You don't have to just punch. You can throw this grub out on the rocks and swim it if you want. I didn't get it as straight as I want, guys. This is I had to get it straight next time. But yeah, you can usually swim these grubs, and they do really well, especially on smallmouth. If you guys are smallmouth fishermen or river fishermen, you already know swimming that grub will get you a lot more bites from smallmouth than anything. But like I said, guys, we're gonna go to the places where the bass live. We're not gonna do any more guessing. It's a critical time of the year. A lot of tournaments are very small weight limits in some lakes, so you just want to get bit. All right, guys, you want to get bit. That means you want a limit, and this is how you limit out. Okay, now this is a jig I put together, but this is a 10 killer tackle code jig once again. And as you can see, guys, okay, a little brighter color. The reason why I'm throwing this little bright color right here, like I tell you guys, I don't use a lot of bright colors, like a lot of reds and oranges and stuff like that. But when I go with chartreuse and like a dark watermelon colors, or as you can see, I colored the pinchers. I colored the pinchers with my pen. The reason why I'm gonna throw that, because a lot of times bass will ignore just a straight watermelon jig or a cinnamon crawl looking jig. And this jig right here will kind of get their attention. It's not too crazy because the bluegill patterns and whatnot with the tails being green, it's not too crazy, but it's just subtle enough to get bit. You see what I'm saying, guys? And you see I made this jig a little smaller so it's not as intimidating, guys. So what I want you guys to do is, I want you to go out there and experiment for one. Go out here and throw any one of these. I mean, any one of these, guys, and get it done, because it's getting to that time where we're about to have some great fishing. Fall is coming, guys. That means your lipless action is coming out, your cranks. You're going to be able to throw your spinner baits a lot more, your chatter baits. Everything's about to come and play for us. So, guys, let's just weather through the storm, through August, through this hot weather, and kind of like see this summer through and try to make it the best summer ever. Because as you guys can see, it's hot everywhere, even in my fishing room, guys. But what we want to do is we want to maintain the bite. That's what we want to do. We want to keep getting bit, because I haven't been skunked all year long or last year, because I've been keying in to where the bass are biting. I mean, where they are and what they're eating on. And I've been paying real close attention to detail of what time I'm catching them and how the tides are going. If I'm in a creek, river, or something like that, you got to pay attention to small details, guys, to catch these fish in these crazier climates, guys. So when it gets cold, you got to do the same thing. So what I want you guys to do is stay focused, get out there, stay disciplined, keep your head about you, because it's going to be hot, guys, and you're going to be out there really fishing for these fish when they're really finicky. So you want to stay on top of them. But another thing, guys, remember why you do it. Remember why we do this sport. This is not a trend, guys. I've been doing this for 32 years, guys. This is what I love to do since I was a kid. And I know a lot of you have too. But do not make this a trend. Don't let this be the COVID thing. Oh, man, I found something to do to keep me outside during COVID. No, let this be something that's a passion, and remain a passion, and remain something you want to do. If it's your goal, work hard till you maintain or you obtain what you want out of it. So with that said, guys, that's all I got for you. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. It's TVP and I'm out.